I have absolutely been avoiding this project. I am so excited about having the finished room and so enthusiastic about the things that are done and look so good. But at the same time, I don't have the energy to work on this most of the time. If you've been around on the channel before, you know I have a full time job and that my knitting and my YouTube channel and all of this is hobbies. I've been really, really struggling the last month. I tore this room apart and got started and had so much enthusiasm in the beginning. And then because I was unwell for a little bit, I missed some work and work piled up. And then it kind of took over, and I did not have enough energy left after that to be able to devote to this room. So it's been really frustrating for me to have my home in such a state of upset while I'm not even making progress on it. And I say this not by way of apology because I know I'm not beholden or obligated to my viewers or my fans or whatever. It's because I want you to know that, like, people on the internet are the same, right? Like, maybe 2 seconds passed for you in between different clips of this video or the previous videos, but for me, days or sometimes weeks passed because I don't have the energy to be a full-time human all the time, just like anybody else. I've been dreading working on this, but at the same time, dying to have it done. Basically, all I have left to do is figure out how to hang up all this stuff on my 2 gallery walls. This blank wall is going to get some stuff. The wall that you can't see now that's behind the camera is my main gallery wall, and that's going to get some stuff. I've done a teeny little tiny bit off camera of putting things on the wall, but mostly the only energy I had put into it, which again was a couple weeks ago, was choosing frames for things and rearranging the stuff I have here to fit in frames. Went to Michael's to pick up a frame and maybe picked up a couple little things that I'd like to add to the craft room that we'll do at the same time. I haven't even put anything up except I did hang the bulletin board, and well, let me turn the camera on and show you. So I hung up the bulletin board here, and I do have a bag on the ground over there of things that used to be pinned to the bulletin board, and I'll pick and choose which ones will go back up here eventually. But everything that's on the wall, there's a couple things that were already in those spots and they're really way up high, and I kind of don't think I need to necessarily move them for the new gallery walls. Other things like this one, which is in a new frame, and these I was just trying out on hooks that were already there. You can see these command hooks. These walls are very sensitive. I'm sure you can see a couple different spots where the plaster has chipped and flaked off, not from any excessive amount of force or tugging or anything like that. The plaster is just really very brittle in this room and hasn't been redone in a very long time. And there are unfortunately a lot of spots on this wall where command hooks took little divots out of it. So part of my task is going to be making the wall aesthetic, obviously, in a way that I like it, but also strategically placing my artworks so that they cover up these little plaster spots. I don't know if I like where these are. These are just on hooks that were already there. I think I started to say this and then just got derailed. I left some of the command hooks on the wall for fear of taking them down and creating more divots in the plaster. I think if those are stable there and they've been there a long time and they're doing their job, I'm going to wait and see if I can reuse them for a different piece before taking them down and kind of disrupting the status quo of the plaster. I moved my 2 wall-mounted spool organizers over in the corner, and they are at a convenient spot to stand up and grab a spool if I'm sitting at the sewing machine. This one back here is all black and white and gray and kind of off-white threads that I will use most often, and that organizer does not have wall mount hardware or holes in the back, so that's why it's kind of awkwardly leaned against the wall there. That's the best solution I've found. I don't love that it's there, but it's not in the way, and I really wasn't sure where else to put it. All of this stuff is command hooks and hardware and things that I might yet find a place to hang in this room and figure some stuff out. I don't know. See, it's like I'm already looking at it and thinking, do I really want to do this today? Which I don't, but I do want to have it done. Today is the first day of our staycation. My husband and I have just decided to take a week off of work just to be away from work, even though we don't have anywhere to go. I'm glad we did, and I'm excited to catch up on some housework and, start to relax outside of work. So I'm gonna do this now. This is the time. It's not gonna get any better. It's not sitting anymore is not gonna make it any less of a task. We're gonna work on these. I wanted to mention the things I got from Michael's. I forgot. So a few weeks ago, I went to a Goodwill. I got a bunch of frames that I liked that were wood. Most of them are not like vintage or anything, but they're at least real wood frames or some sort of pretty. I had picked up a couple at like Home Goods. Basically, I just wanted to get everything out of those like plastic or plain cheap black frames that I have to make the frames themselves add to the appearance of the room. When I brought those home, I bought that whole batch of thrifted frames with no knowledge or expectation of the sizes of the things that needed to be framed or like what I would use them for. I just picked out a bunch that I liked. The only thing that didn't find a suitable frame after that haul was this cross-stitch piece that my grandmother finished years ago, and she had already mounted it and had it ready for framing on this piece of particle board, but I didn't have any square frames that would fit it, so I went to Michael's to get this one. Ironically, I found this frame at Goodwill that I really liked it, but I didn't find anything to put in it, and I don't want to use the art piece that's in here, but I thought it was so funny because I didn't buy it for the art piece, and then later I was kind of looking at it, and I was like, there's 2 baskets of yarn. Obviously, like there's baskets everywhere. I love baskets. There's plants everywhere. This is kind of my thing, but I really don't love the like early noughties country farmhouse font aesthetic, but some of the things in here kind of do hit the mark, I have, interestingly, had a fun time filling up odd size frames with fabric. So if you recognize this one, this is leftover fabric from when I made a sundress a couple years ago. A sundress that I've never worn because it's a fit nightmare and I have trauma associated with the dress from the horrible sewing process, but the fabric's really pretty and it looks good in there. This one is a pocket square from our anniversary photo shoot. It's a William Morris print, The Strawberry Thief. So I did have a fun time kind of matching some stuff I already had around the room, like postcards. I'm going thrifting in a couple days, so maybe I'll find something there. Anyway, when I went to Michael's to get the square frame, I found some other things. Their whole spring line was on sale, and they had a lot of different macrame plant hangers, which are the kind of things that I always tell myself, I can make this because I'm capable of making this. But will I ever take the time and get around to it? Probably not. I was like, you know what? I like them. They're very cheap right now. I think I'll use them for a long time. I'm just going to do it. Even though we can make everything, we won't. This one's harder to see the base, but it's like right, they're just fun. Pretty things. And then I got wall hooks to mount them on the wall because these were also 60% off, which made them very cheap. So there's a couple here that are just like a metal L bracket. And then this one I thought was pretty. It's like a dark wood. So I think it would be nice to put a plant hanger above this window so that we can have something in this area that's kind of empty. And then I did have this 2-tier little shelf basket thing that I bought at the Target dollar spot like a couple years ago, and I never found a space to use it, and it's just been in a closet in my house ever since. We're going to experiment. So I would like to be ambitious and state my goal for the day, but because I've been dealing with low energy and over expecting of myself, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do some goals for the week because I have the week off, and I would like to have this room done before I go back to work in 8 days. So I want to hang those hanging items that we talked about. I would like to deal with the 2 gallery walls and get those set up. And I would like to find a place for all of the empty baskets, because in the process of rearranging everything, I've picked and chosen different vessels to put things in, and I have a lot of baskets that I love and I'm going to hang on to, but they are not in use right now and I don't know where to store them. So we're really close. I think it's starting to look good. Now that I'm in here again, I keep looking over this way at all the stuff that's already done, and I'm very enthusiastic and I think it's so pretty, and I can't wait to like finish up and be able to spend time in here. As it is, I haven't even been able to spend time in here in its unfinished state because there's so much stuff on my chair. The natural first step is to start working on the gallery walls. As uncomfortable as it makes me and as much as I don't feel like doing it right now, We got to get out the command hooks and see what works. Okay. As expected, I'm exhausted after doing not that much work. What I've learned is I need more art to put on the walls. Like, I thought what I had with some supplementary stuff from the thrift store would fill them up, but clearly not. I've got enough here for the start of my podcast background, but I would like it to go all the way up because I'm a maximalist, and same on the other wall. So it's starting to fill in. I like the direction it's going. I'm not there yet. I don't have enough things. Like I said, I have plans to go thrifting with my mom in a couple days in Ithaca, which in my experience and my mom's is the best place to go thrifting because it's all bangers in Ithaca. It's all good. The stores there just slap, to be frank. I will be on the lookout for more little pieces that I can add. I'm going to try to be creative, include things that might not traditionally be wall decor, but might function as wall decor for some added interest. A recent Facebook Marketplace lot of embroidery hoops that I purchased included 3 of these cute little, like very 90s, they're plastic, golden frames. So maybe I'll just find little scraps of fabric in my cabbage patch that I can pop into these and add in between for cute little touches. I like the idea of doing that. So I'm gonna break for today, but we did make some progress. I'm feeling too drained to get out the drill and hang those brackets up to do the hanging items. And I don't even know what plants I'm going to put in them yet anyway. I might have to pick up some plants when I go to Ithaca on Tuesday. Oh no. I feel like we're closer to the finish line, but my anxiety is still running high about the state of the house. So I'm definitely motivated to work on this all week and to get it done this week. So I'll see you next time I'm back with an update. I have not been feeling very vloggy today, but I did do a bunch of work. I hung one plant hanger. I hung that little tiered basket thing that looks so cute, and a bunch of the pieces. Um, I've gotten to the point where I have one more frame left, and it's that big green one that I don't have anything to fit in, and a couple more small postcards or little freebie art pieces that I thought would fill in the gaps nicely. So at this point, it's just going to be a matter of thrifting tomorrow and finding pieces that work, and hopefully finding some fun things to fill in the gaps also. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow when we're on our little thrifting adventure. Full disclosure, I'm going thrifting immediately after I get a haircut, and I'm planning on losing a lot of this. So next time you see me, my hair will look a lot different. I will feel a lot lighter and be ready to go thrifting. Oh, hey. Hey, we're back. So, had a successful thrifting trip yesterday. Also, obviously, a haircut. Slightly less success with the haircut. It was a bit of an ordeal, but I got out eventually. That sounds awful. It took a long time, and she did not understand what I was asking for the first time, and basically had to give me a second haircut. But we went to 4 thrift stores in Ithaca, and I found stuff at all 4. All of the vintage stores and antique stores were closed. I don't know if it's just because it's a Tuesday or what. I did focus on finding small things, and things that even if I have to do a little work or change the color or whatever to add to the walls, because at this point they're filling in okay. I do have a lot of larger things that are working out, although I could use a couple more. But mostly I'm concerned about the little gaps in between the paintings. I'm going for maximalism. I want it to be a striking gallery wall, or 2 striking gallery walls, I guess. And in my opinion, if you're going to do it, you have to do it. You really have to fill it in, and it has to be really rich and visually interesting, or else I've missed the mark. So I bought little stuff to fill in the blanks and some more frames. I don't know. Let's look. I would like more interesting things, 3-dimensional things. I've been really interested on like Instagram. I've seen several people like inserting plants into the middle of the wall, which is not something that ever occurred to me, like by using little shelves or, propagated plants in little tubes. It looks so good. So I might do that. I didn't find anything to use for that today, but I did recently see a little thingy like that at Michael's. So maybe I'll try to drop in and get one of those. I do have a couple like shelves, like the white command shelf that I've used to hang my grandmother's cross stitch piece. There are smaller shelves that are like this wide. So I got a couple of those on Amazon because they were on sale to just insert into the larger setup, and then I can put some sort of object or maybe a small plant on there. I don't know. Let's dive in and look what I got. Elephant in the room. I did break my yarn band technically because there is this gorgeous cone of yarn, And this thrift store had a lot of very overpriced cones of yarn that most of them were like novelty yarns. One of them even still had the tag on the inside from the warehouse that said by weight it was sold at an outlet store for $12.83, and they were selling it for $40. And I was like, it has a price tag on it, dude. Like, whatever. But as far as I could tell, in the cones of yarn section, this was the only one that was like natural fiber and probably actually worth the $40. And then I did manage to look up this yarn base on Ravelry. I found it once I got home. It's discontinued. I can't figure out how much it would have been originally, but there are a couple other cones that are going for about $40 or $50 on like eBay or secondhand sites. So I'm very pleased with this one. I think the color is really pretty. It's soft. It's a 78% mohair, 13% wool, 7% nylon is what is written on the label, but that doesn't add up. So it's probably actually 9% nylon, I believe. And it was Barrington Mohair by Valley Yarns. It used to be sold by Webb's. Yeah, it says 1,000 yards per 14-ounce cone. So if this is nearly full, if not entirely full. It's an overfilled cone. I don't know if you can see, but there is a lot of yarn above the actual physical cone. And I think that this is a beautiful sweater quantity of natural fiber that I'll be pleased to use next winter. Other craft supplies, not for the wall. This bag of polyfill. I don't buy polyfill at craft stores because I think it's wasteful and it's just more plastic. However, if I see it at a thrift store, I do pick it up because it's already been discarded by somebody at that point and it's significantly cheaper, and I do find use for it occasionally. I got this tiny cone of cotton yarn that I probably will never use, but I think that cones of yarn are pretty decoration, and it was only $1. And I got some fabric. These are 1 yard cuts. These two are of the same kind of 90s floral print, and this one was also a $2 1 yard cut. Everything else, with the exception of this basket that everything is stored in, is for the gallery walls. And this basket, if not in here in my office, will just be used to put like an uglier planter in. But I was thinking of using it for that spider plant that sits behind me over here, because it's in a green pot, but it's like a plastic pot that's not my favorite. So I might try that if I don't like it. I know I have planters at work that I would rather cover up with a pretty basket. So let's get into the frames. I got a lot done. I had a couple little strokes of genius. First of all, I don't know why I didn't think about taking pages out of magazines before. Specifically, I have a bunch of back issues of In Her Studio. It used to have a different name, and I don't remember if this is the new name or the old name. But it's basically just like inspirational photos and articles of people's creative studios. So it's like the most inspiring thing for a project like this. So I did pull a few pictures out of those that I thought were fun and put them in some of the frames I had. I also thought of the perfect use for the green frame because I bought that super cute fabric a couple years ago at Joann. It's a novelty like quilter's cotton, but it's retro looking comic strips of people being super frustrated sewing. And I bought it because it was so funny and relatable, and I haven't thought of anything to use it for. So I just cut a big chunk of it and framed it so you can read them. I mean, it's kind of high up, you can't read them, but the vibe is there. It's so silly. I think it's really funny, and I'm glad I thought of that. I kind of use more bits of scrap fabric or postcards or what I have laying around. It's starting to look a lot more filled in. There are some small things I want. Like I said, I want to add some plants interspersed probably in little propagation tubes. And I want to check Michael's because I did see some of those there. I also want to get like some sort of probably fake floral to go in this one. But there's still space on both walls. Little stuff would help fill it in. I think I might back out of my vlogging here. I think I've had a lot of fun so far putting this all together, but it's nearly done and you guys are basically getting the reveal spoiled for you. So I'm gonna take the next couple days to put my finishing touches on, and I'll see you back when it's over. I'm so ready. I did spend the next couple days putting finishing touches on the room, but that was a few months ago. Now I've had a couple months to live with the craft room, and I really do love it. I still have a lot of issues keeping it tidy all the time, but I don't think I'm alone in that. Since then, I've had a couple great garage sale and thrift store finds, and I've been able to really fill in the gallery walls and all over the room with these pretty vintage picture frames. Like most projects that most knitters take on, this is going to be a work in progress. There are things about it that are not perfect, that I still want to fix. For instance, the tablecloth on my cutting table is just an untouched piece of fabric. And I've still got more pictures that I want to hang up, but I just don't have the supplies to hang them up right now. And that's okay. Just like all my other creative endeavors, I'm not upset that it's not done, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work on this room and to work in this room and enjoy it. And a huge part of that is going to be filming and producing videos. As ever, I'm so pleased that you stuck around to the end of the video. Please feel free to comment and tell me about your craft room. Tell me your thoughts on my craft room. And if you're not already, please consider subscribing. I do regular podcasts. I do all sorts of fiber festivals and crafty content. And I think if you watched this whole series, you will be aware that I picked up quite a few projects along the way here. I've had lots of great suggestions so far on what to do with my grandmother's yarn stashes and how to finish some of Grandma's projects. And I'm looking forward to digging into all of that in the future, along with my regular knitting content. So I'm very, very flattered and grateful that you watched today. Give the video a like if you've liked my finished craft room. And as always, I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.